I'm Steve Kovsky in the newsroom. I'm joined today by Greg Schultz, the founder and senior analyst for StorageIO. It's an IT infrastructure analysis and consulting company. Greg is joining us now from the Princeton, New Jersey area. Greg, how are you today?
Hi Steve, I'm doing fine, thanks.
Excellent. Glad to have you with us. Now we wanted to talk to you about virtualization, specifically for the small and medium-sized business market. In your recent book, The Green and Virtual Data Center, you address this market. So what are some of the pitfalls and gotchas that can occur among smaller businesses who are adopting virtualization? Is there anything in particular that seems to trip them up?
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. A very important one is that virtualization to many means consolidation, which means going on the craze of trying to over-consolidate, trying to over-optimize at the impact of performance, at the downside of performance, at the downside of lost productivity. So what that means is the dark side there is in that quest to try to drive up utilization, to squeeze more and more out, that the performance is impacted, response time, quality of service, latency, things like that. Things that can have an impact on both the top as well as the bottom line on productivity, but also on what your users as well as your customers see. So that's the one aspect. The other is that in that quest to optimize is forgetting about some of the basics, such as fault containment, fault isolation, basic high availability, business continuous disaster recovery. All those things need to be kept in mind, and it's a balancing act of performance, availability, capacity, all those things kept in balance. Those are some of the dark side issues.
I guess one of the issues is that when you place many virtual servers onto one physical machine, you're in a very real sense putting all your eggs in one basket. If you don't pay attention to the fundamentals of disaster recovery and business continuity, you could find yourself with an even bigger problem if one of those servers, those virtual servers, goes down and it is not recoverable.
Oh, spot on. You hit the nail on the head there, Steve. That's a key issue, is that, again, in that quest to drive out utilization, I want to get down to one server. Well, all of a sudden is that one server becomes a single point of failure. You have put all the proverbial eggs in one basket. So instead of going to one server, go to two. Have some basic high availability, load balancing. Even if you could squeeze onto one server, use that second server for failover, for high availability, testing, essentially your own BCDR type environment. But don't stop at the server. Don't forget about the network adapters. In that race to consolidate and to penny pinch is don't forget about a second adapter, whether it be for the network, for a storage, whatever it happens to be. Keep in mind this. In addition to the BCDR aspects, there's also the performance. In other words, if I have a bunch of servers and by themselves they're not requiring a lot of network activity or a lot of storage or I/O activity, when I aggregate them all together, when I bunch them together, their aggregate processing needs are going to be greater. So they're going to need more CPU, more memory, more I/O capability. So all those things need to be kept in perspective such that in the quest to optimize the environment, you don't inadvertently introduce bottlenecks or instability.
Okay, common sense stuff. Now, there seems to be so much excitement and hype around virtualization right now as vendors try to surround this sweet spot of economic activity in an overall stagnant IT market. Is there a danger that it's being overhyped and touted a little too highly?
Yeah, there's always that risk, Steve. In other words, when something is too good to be true. The reality here is that we're in the first wave. We're very much in the first wave of virtualization, whether it be for server storage or desktop. And that first wave is go after all the low-hanging fruit where you can consolidate. Where the next wave is life beyond consolidation. In other words, for those servers that can't be consolidated for performance, quality of service, availability, competitive, security, whatever the issues may be, software support, vendor support, aging hardware. That's the opportunity. That's that next wave for leveraging virtualization and the life beyond consolidation. So the trap right now, Steve, is that of a focus just on consolidation. Estimates vary on how many servers can actually be consolidated. It could be, I've seen estimates as low as 18% to as high as in the 30% of all servers that could be consolidated. Well, that's not to say that that's the limit on virtualization. Au contraire, it's quite the opposite. There's an even bigger opportunity out there for that life beyond consolidation, where virtualization is then used for agility, for flexibility, for manageability, load balancing, shifting resources around, basic operational type capability, things that can enable and accessorize and enhance organizations of all sizes. So I think that's the one risk there, Steve, is that focusing just on consolidation, the tip of the iceberg, rather than the even bigger opportunity.
Okay, thanks for joining us today, Greg. I really appreciate it. For Greg Schultz of StorageIO, I'm Steve Kovsky. Have a great day.